Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. So welcome back to the show, Omer. I'm very happy to have you back. I know we've had a couple repeat guests now, work changes. This has been going on for like 4 years now, but I'm happy to have you back on the show.
Hello, how are you? How are things?
Good. I know I get to see you like almost every day at the Eiffel Tower taking pictures, but you also have something new to introduce.
I really do, yeah. I mean, I've had like so much experience in different areas, but I'm very happy to have finally found something that I can do just by myself and just out of pure pleasure, and that is painting, screen printing.
Yeah. We definitely need to talk more about that process, but I kind of want to take listeners who don't know you back to the beginning of what brought you to Paris originally.
So I'm originally from the UK. I'm from Leeds. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of Leeds. You know, we have some British friends who've made me aware of these little towns and cities.
Yeah. So yeah, further up in the north, for people who don't know, quite close to Manchester, about an hour from there. And I spent around 18 years there. I went to all my schools, my college there. And then for university, I moved to London.
So tell us a little bit about what brought you to Paris.
So my story kind of started in London just before I came over to Paris. I was actually modeling, and I was often coming to Paris for jobs, for Fashion Week. And I was also studying at the same time. And at that time, I was at the end of my university course, so I had to do an internship to complete the course, and I decided to do it in Paris whilst doing a little bit of modeling at the same time. And I think that kind of just put, a few steps into France, and then I started slowly to find new jobs, find new work. And yeah, that's how I ended up here 10 years later.
It's so funny how there's this domino effect with Paris, because I feel like with a lot of my guests, they're always like, oh, I just thought I was coming for 6 months or, 1 year. And then all of a sudden it's like fast forward to 10 years. It just proves how things just start to domino once you get that in motion.
It is, and it's like pretty scary how quickly time has gone, because I mean, I really did think I would be here for 2 months. I'd have a bit of fun, test a little bit of French and then be back over to the UK. But I just don't see myself anywhere else right now.
Yeah, it really is funny because we work so hard to be here too. And then it's almost like we don't want to give it up either, and also you build relationships and you're home.
Yeah.
And you just start laying those roots. It's hard to leave.
I definitely feel at home here now. I mean, when I go back to the UK, I go back a few times a year, but I sort of feel so much more comfortable here for some reason.
Yeah. It kind of is like reverse culture shock going back home. Yeah. Like, what are you people doing over here?
You feel the same way?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes when I go back home, it's just like, oh, that's how things work here. Like you get so used to the things you're dealing with in France. And I think the biggest thing that I miss is the food and wine, though, every time I go home. I mean, in the UK, you're not so far, so you can get some good cheese and stuff like that. But in America, it's a little harder to get your hands on good French products.
And how often do you go back?
I go back like every 6 months.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, see
it's
everybody.
A lot further for you, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little further. We tend to spend a month there. But so you came here and you thought you did some modeling. You were doing your work with the university. And then over the years, you've been involved in a lot of different creative endeavors like painting. You were doing some creative direction, photography, video. So talk a little bit about how each of these things maybe led into the other. Like, were you just kind of following your instincts or what you were passionate about in that moment?
I mean, yeah, I definitely was just following my instinct. And I feel really lucky. I feel like France has been such an incredible opportunity for me. Like it's had its difficulties, but at the same time, I've experienced so much, and I feel like I wouldn't have experienced that anywhere else if I hadn't taken that risk. Like I said, I started with the internship, and that led to some like freelance work with that company. And from there, I started to, contact some other companies. I found some friends in the same area, and I just went on and on slowly, just, developing contacts, developing my portfolio. And yeah, my main interest was always video direction and photography. But from there, I would offer that service to a brand, and they would come back to me and say, do you do a little bit of graphic design? Do you do web design? Do you do social media? And I'm like, sure, I'll give it a try. And that's how it's kind of like dominoed in, as you said.
I like how you just said yes, because a lot of people would be like, "No, I don't do that," and you just kind of jumped in and were like, "Yeah, I can figure that out. I can do
You
that."
definitely have to. I mean, I had one job I remember. They were like, "Do you speak?" It was in the first year of me being here. I barely spoke any French. I still
Yeah.
don't speak much now, but they said to me, "We would love for you to come on." It was a job for Apple, actually. They said, "Would you come
Wow.
over and be like a what do you call it now? Like a producer for this series?
Wow.
We need somebody who speaks English, and we need somebody who speaks French." And I barely spoke any French, but I
Oh my
thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the opportunity. And yeah,
That's
I
so
did it.
cool. So
Sorry.
what was it? Like, what did you get to do for them?
So it was like case studies for how people use Apple products. So this one was in Strasbourg, and it was a woman who was using an iPad. It was about 10 years ago now. It was like 9 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And it was a woman who was using the Apple iPad to organize her company. It was like a coffee shop. It was organize all her stock, organize her rotas, organize her staff. And it was like, how is she using that product to, manage her business? And it was a profile on her. And the person was supposed to speak, good French, fluent French. She was French, but I just kind of winged it and thought, you know what, I'm going to give it my best. Why not?
I think that's such a valuable lesson because so many people are scared to say yes if they don't feel perfect, And like you've proven over and over again, you say yes, you might not know what you're doing, but you figure it out.
You figure it out, exactly. Yeah. That's the only way you can learn, I think. That's the only way.
And how did you find the confidence to keep saying yes to all these different types of work?
I'll be completely honest with you, and I think it's because I have a fear of failure. I didn't
Mhm.
want to fail. I didn't want to give up and just, oh no, French is too difficult. I don't want to learn that. Or I could never do that. I'm not good enough. I want to progress, and I want
Mhm.
to succeed, and that's what I think that keeps driving me forward.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people would shy away. They'd be like, "Oh my gosh, Apple," or "I'm not good enough." We all have that imposter syndrome, but you
Yeah.
just jump right in. So that want to be, good and to be great at what you're doing is bigger than your fear.
Well, it has to be, I think. It definitely is.
And now you've moved into screen printing. Tell us a little bit about that. First off, tell us what is screen printing, because some people might not really know what it is.
Yeah, okay. I just wrote a little bit about that. 1 minute. Let me just find it. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. So basically, screen printing is a process where you can burn a design into a large screen, which is very often made of like a tight mesh. And that screen is then used to reproduce your design using paint.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because even for me, it's been so long since I've really looked at it. I know I've seen people doing it, and I see like this big mesh thing, and then they put paint into it, but I wasn't exactly sure of how the process worked.
Yeah, so that you would create a design on perhaps Photoshop or Illustrator, and then that would be then transferred onto plastic, printed onto plastic,
Hmm.
and then that plastic piece would be put onto the screen, and they would use like light to shine through it, and it blocks out the negative areas of your design. So when you're printing it, when you pass the paint through the screen, you only get your design basically. And you can put
Wow.
that, yeah, you can put the screen onto fabric, you can do it onto canvas, wood, metal. I think anything you can imagine, you can print onto.
And what made you think to even start doing screen printing?
I think it's been very natural for me because I do work a lot in graphic design. I
Hmm.
really do enjoy graphic design, and from there I found like the work kind of just stuck online. It stuck digitally, and it was a way for me to take my digital designs and then to bring them into real life, into 3D, and to have something physical to look at.
Yeah, and mixing those mediums is kind of a fun way to mix up your work too.
Yeah, it's given it another dimension. It's given it another value, I think, and yeah, it's just been a really fun process to be experimenting with.
And how did you learn? Did you just pop into one of the little ateliers one day and you're like, okay, I'm just going to do this?
So I studied art and design at college and at university, and we did do like a short little section within our course of how to do this process. So I have
Hmm.
done it, many years ago, but I would say at least 15 years ago. So I did have some knowledge to work on, and I was familiar with the process. But then, yeah, I contacted an atelier in Marseille, and there was a man there who was helped me, because now it's changed a little bit. It's no longer by hand. Very often the process is done by machines, so
Hmm.
it has become a bit more modern. But yeah, I just contacted the atelier, and he gave me like a shared working space, and that's
Nice.
how I got back into it.
And talk about your process for creating a new screen print. Like, how do you even decide what you're going to put on a screen print?
So usually I would start with like source material, things that I just find personally interesting. It could be an image, it could be text, it could be whatever it is. Right now, I'm very interested in actually advertising. I'm very interested in like newspaper and magazine clippings from the 1950s.
Hmm.
So I would take those clippings, those source imagery, and then place them onto Photoshop. I would create, a rough composition of how I would like the overall painting to look. I would look at the colors. I would look at the layout, and from there, once I'm satisfied with how that looks, I would then split the screen print, the design into different layers, and then they then go to print. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's different layers. So they're kind of, that's how you can change up the colors and things like that too.
Yes, so they're printed on like you would have the base layer, the background, and then you would have perhaps, the first layer, and then you could overlap with another one. But yeah,
Hmm.
I would start more digitally. That's more my process of working. I feel like it has a bit more flexibility of nothing's set in stone. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you have room to manipulate, you have room to play around. You can come back to it tomorrow and have a look. Before anything's printed, I would definitely start on Photoshop or Illustrator.
Yeah, definitely. It's a little more wiggle room to make mistakes and really know what your piece is going to look like before you spend the money to, all the
Yeah,
product
exactly.
and
Yeah.
everything.
And also you can have some feedback of like you could show it to a few friends before you print it. Like, what do you think of this? What
Hmm.
size do you think would work for this piece? So
Yeah,
yeah, it's a
yeah.
lot of flexibility.
And talk about who and what inspires your work. How do you decide which design you're going to do?
I think screen printing is obviously very associated with like Andy Warhol. He did it so much, I think, in the 80s and I think 70s and 80s. He was really whacking out the designs. I've become very familiar with it through him, but I'm
Hmm.
inspired by a lot of different artists. But I think something that, as I just mentioned, I really do love advertising. I love the combination of photography and typography and
Hmm.
graphic design. So very often you would see designs even just on the street or in the metro, and you wouldn't essentially know who's actually designed this work. But for me, it's still interesting. It's inspiring.
Yeah, yeah.
Does,
You just
does that
like
make
you're like
sense?
attracted to the typeface or the ad or whatever. Like there's something about it that grabs your attention.
Yeah, and definitely that's definitely true. But I just think also it's never really you don't really know who's designed this. This is also what's
Hmm.
quite interesting. It's not a famous artist. It's probably somebody a graphic designer from a company who who
Yeah.
you have no idea who it is. But I find that element really interesting as well.
Yeah, there's some like mystery there then, because a lot of art is about who is the artist, where screen printing
Exactly.
not so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Who is it? Who is the name? And a lot of times that's then associated whether it's good or it's bad. But for me, I have to just look at something, and if I like it, I like it, and if I'm
Mhm.
inspired by it, I'm inspired by it.
Yeah, it takes away all the branding and marketing, even though it is technically an ad at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you use a lot of vibrant colors in your work. Talk a little bit about how you choose colors and what you're attracted to.
Yeah, I do love the bright colors now because I think for many years I was working with fashion brands, and a lot of my work it was, well, what they were commissioning was black and white images. That's very often like a language within the fashion industry. And from there, I did enjoy that, but with the screen printing process, it's really allowed me just to throw out some colors and have some fun with it.
Hmm.
Um, and I think with the works that I have done, I really wanted to make something immediate and high impact, very large scale, something that you have to notice, something that if you walked into a room, you couldn't help but look at it. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? So
Yeah.
yeah, I went for very like bright, pop, fresh colors. I didn't want anything dark or morbid because when
Hmm.
I'm creating the pieces, I am imagining the sort of space they would be in if it was in, somebody's house or a hotel or wherever it is. And I would imagine them to lift up a space. Do you know what I mean? Give it a
Yeah.
contemporary feel, bright pops of color, glamorous and young.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what your works do. They're so bright and they're poppy and they're fun. And it's such a different world than, like you said, working in the world of fashion, which can be a little more grim.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. A lot of black and white.
Yeah, they're really, I just that classic look. Everything has to be classic, classic, classic.
I mean, for years I was taking pictures. It must have been over 3 years for us, like, continuous brands, just all in black and white, which I do love. But like I said, this has just given me a new direction and a new way of expressing.
Yeah, and I think that it's very like classic French to want black and white as well. Like I know even when I work for French clients, they're like, "Oh, send me the pictures in black and white too." And I'm like, "Why?" But
Oh,
they
really?
love
They
it.
asked for that as well?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they love it. They're really into black and white in this country.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about how your work has evolved since moving to France. I mean, obviously it's been a little bit of time now. Like your work has changed, you've changed. Like what do you think has changed about all of it?
I think it definitely has evolved, and I think I have evolved. I mean, when I first started, like I expressed earlier, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was learning on the job, and I was just putting things out there, seeing what worked, seeing what, sort of feedback I got back. But now I feel a lot more confident in what I produce. It's taken a
Hmm.
long time, but I think I appreciate the value of art more, whether that's, writing a book or it's photography or it's cinema. I have a lot more appreciation for these creations, and I think my work has it's become more confident and it's become more out there and it's
Hmm.
become more assuming, I would say.
Yeah, you developed more of a personality even in your own work.
Yeah, for sure, and that's what I'm enjoying for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like rediscovering yourself in some ways.
That's exactly that actually, because I really do feel like I'm able to express if I find a theme or I find like I said, an advert that I find interesting. I'm no longer like, how can I say? There's no compromise right now because it's
Mhm.
literally just for me. It's literally
Yeah,
just to create and to express, which I'm
yeah,
really enjoying.
yeah. It's not about money. It's about, an outlet, a creative outlet of having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And talk
Expression,
about,
having fun.
yeah, definitely. And I think that we all need something like, we're lucky we have jobs that we get paid to be creative, but also we even still need that hobby where we're not paid just
Yeah,
because you can
it's
be
true.
more creative.
Yeah. It's important, I think. It's very important.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about how your travels have influenced your work. I mean, you've been all over Africa and Europe and St. Bart's and talk a little bit about how all those places have influenced your work.
Well, they really have. Well, travel really has influenced my work because I recently did a series of two paintings, and they were actually on the Air France theme.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did two very large scale paintings. You may have seen one. One of them is bright yellow with the red
Yeah.
and the blue. And this initial inspiration was from it was from the Air France magazine, what they had in the at the airport, and
Uh-huh.
they were going through the history of the 1950s and 60s travel to Japan, I think it was.
Hmm.
And like I said, I just found the way that the typography was written and also the way of communicating and their language at that time very interesting. So
Yeah.
I'd taken the text and I'd taken some of the logos, I'd rearranged it on Photoshop and then again injected those bright colors.
And you can really see that in that. I love that piece. For me, like what I've seen so far that you've made, it really stands out the most.
Okay, yeah. You're having a look at it? You see it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I saw when you posted it. It's beautiful. Like it's with the bright yellow, right? And the
Yeah, it's
blue.
like the bright yellow background, and then you have the Air France logo, which is in blue,
Yeah.
and then you have the red and the black text.
Yeah, I
And
really
that's
like it.
yeah, it's a really large piece, and yeah, that's direct influence from traveling. There couldn't be a more
Yeah,
direct
Air
influence,
France.
I think. Yeah.
And talk about when you're working on such large scale pieces, what are some of the obstacles of working in such big ways?
I think for now, the main obstacle is actually because this process is used less and less. It was more popular, I think, in the 1950s, where it was used to create signs,
Hmm.
and they were using it on a very large scale to create signs for buildings, to create, huge pieces. And for now, it's like I said, it's become a bit more, it's less handmade and it's more computerized and by machine. And that's actually reduced the size of the what you can produce via silk screens because a lot of people now, a lot of companies, they don't have the huge machines to create the screens like they used to.
Yeah.
So if so even when I did a series on the Reverso, the watch, a Reverso watch,
Hmm.
and I did want a larger size for that, but the company, the man there was like, no, we can't go any bigger than this. So
Wow.
yeah.
So there are restrictions.
There are restrictions, yeah. I mean, I suppose if you really wanted to commission something huge and you wanted to find a place, you probably could, but for now it is becoming slightly more limited of what you can do.
And you think that's because of the machines?
I think it's because of machines and also just it's in less demand and less people are doing it and they don't no longer have those equipment. It's no longer as necessary anymore. A lot of
Hmm.
things are digital and you just, put an advert on Instagram that would have far more impact.
Yeah. I'm glad that
Yeah.
you're keeping it alive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We don't want these arts to die out. They're important parts of art
It
history.
really is. Yeah, it really is. It's a beautiful process, and if anybody does have a chance to try it, even on a smaller scale, you really should.
Yeah.
You really
And you
should.
split your time between Paris and the south of France. What a dreamy lifestyle. Talk a little bit about which inspires you more or creativity, like where are you more inspired for the
Oh,
south?
you know me. It's definitely the South. Yeah. I think one of the main reasons I even decided to stay in France for so long was because when I discovered the South of France, I just fell in love with France.
Yeah.
It's so, so beautiful, and I am very fortunate where I am able to spend a lot of my time in the south, particularly in Marseille, where I now have my little work studio.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I love the south. I love the light. I love the heat, the warmth. I love the colors of the buildings, and just seeing that blue sky pretty much every morning is it's a bit more inspiring than the gray clouds of Paris, I think.
Yeah, it infuses a little more energy into you.
It definitely does, yeah. And also the people, I mean, I speak a bit in its general, but the people there are a little bit more like laid back. They're a bit more
Hmm.
relaxed. They're easygoing, easy to speak to. We all know in Paris it can be a little bit tense
Yeah,
sometimes.
a little bit less
Yeah.
welcoming.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And how would you define creativity in your own words?
I think I was having to think about that, and I think creativity for me is being honest. It's being honest in about what you want to create, quite simply.
Hmm.
And I think, to be honest, how can I express it? Let me have a think. Um, I think whether you're writing a book or doing a painting or directing a film, to be truly creative, you have to be honest with yourself and express what's really within you. Does that
I
make
like that.
sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And that's why more people should be creative because you're really connecting with your inner self and another level that you might not be able to touch otherwise.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's almost a healing. If you're being creative, you're almost healing yourself, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, and I use it a
And
lot for healing, especially like children or mental illness or anything,
yeah,
like it can really help.
yeah, I think creativity is honesty. It's about being honest with yourself and expressing what's truly within you. That's what
I
it
love
is for
that.
me.
Yeah, that's a great definition. And tell us what you love about being an artist.
Being an artist. I think besides than actually creating, I think that it gives you a sense of connection.
Mhm.
I love the sense of connection you have with somebody when you describe your work and you can see them looking at it and you feel like they understand and they appreciate your ideas and the effort you've made to create it. I think that's such a great feeling, the sense of connection it can give you to other artists or even just people passing by who may see your work or family and friends. I think being an artist allows you to connect.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's all about connection. You don't even have to speak the same language, but you can connect by looking at something together and
Exactly.
listening.
Yeah,
It happens a lot
exactly.
with music too. You can listen and play the same chords even if you don't speak the same language.
Exactly. It's a universal language and everybody can appreciate it, I think.
And what's something you wish more people knew about your work?
Um, I would say not just for my work, but for perhaps artists' work in general, is that people could know or could consider that when they are looking at an artist's work, it does take a lot of risk and it does take a lot of courage to create it. I think it takes a lot of personal, it can be quite pressuring for an artist to put a piece of work out there. So I think somebody who is looking at it from the outside who doesn't always create or they're used to being more on an observing side of the work is
Hmm.
just to understand that it does take risk and it does take courage and that can be often overlooked, I think.
Definitely. It's all about being vulnerable and people don't
Exactly.
realize like you put your heart and soul into that.
Yeah, and even if they don't realize, it might not come as like a negative, or it might be not in a bad way, but very often people are quick to judge, or, I saw her pictures or I saw his pictures and they weren't great, or I didn't like them. But it takes time and it takes dedication, and it's a risk. I think it really is a risk to put yourself out there.
Hmm. Definitely. And what is the importance of art in today's society?
Um, I think beauty and art and design, whether it's a painting or it's, architecture, as we mentioned, I think it's a universal language and something
Hmm.
that we can all appreciate. I think perhaps we've all been to, it could be a country, it could be a building or a place where it's not very aesthetically beautiful, and you remember how you feel in those places. Perhaps you don't feel as welcome, or perhaps you want to leave. And I think art and beauty, it allows comfort and it allows appreciation. And like I said, I think it's a universal language that we can all enjoy and
Yeah, I like
share.
that. Universal language. It's a great way to put it. And what are some future projects you're excited to share with the audience?
I do have a project coming up, which I was pleasantly surprised about. I just started sharing some of my work online with regards to the screen printing. And even though I can't say what it is just yet, I was contacted by a company to do a series of paintings starting
Wow,
from November until January.
that's
It's going to
wonderful.
be
I love that you just started and you're like, oh, yeah, I got a job.
I thought it was, to be honest, when I received the message, I thought it was fake. I thought it was
Yeah.
like a scam. I really did. And I discussed it with them on the telephone and they were like 100% serious. And they want to start. I wish I could share it, but I will eventually.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be looking at your social media. And speaking of which, where can listeners connect with you and learn more about your work?
Definitely Instagram. I'm very active on there. I have my own website where you can see some of my work, and I've recently ventured onto TikTok, which is a crazy place I'm discovering. So yeah, Instagram, website, and TikTok.
Great. I'll share all those links in the show notes. And thank you so much for sharing your work with us today, Omer. I can't wait to see what you'll do next.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really fun.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.